I want you to listen carefully and check all these numbers yourself, if you care to. First, you have a problem with inflation. We all know that. We all can feel it. We can see it. It wasn't caused by Russia. It is caused by the Federal Reserve. It is caused by spending too much money and printing even more. I say it's caused by the Federal Reserve. They didn't spend the money. Yes, we have a debt now of $30 trillion that if interest rates go up to about 5 or 6%, we will not be able to afford anything but the interest on that debt. Okay? Now, we know that's happening. The Federal Reserve also has printed and given the banks untold trillions of dollars. We know that they gave $30 trillion to the banks by 2010. That news has just been released due to a FOIA request. We have no idea what they've done in the last 2 years.
Can I just add to your point on interest here, Glenn?
Yeah.
This is according to Brian Riedel over at the Manhattan Institute. For every point that interest rates go up, just a point, that adds $30 trillion to the debt over the next, I think it's 30 years, which is the same amount that we would spend in that period on defense. So every single point interest rates go up, we owe another $30 trillion. Like we're adding an entire new U.S. military every single time one of these things goes up 1 point.
So we just raised the interest rates, the Fed did, by a quarter point and said 5 to 7 more hikes are coming.
Oh my gosh.
Okay? All right. So let's just talk about real stuff here for a second. I wanted to show you what the price of things were, what the price of things are, and what the price of things will be by Election Day 2024. Okay? We must turn this around. But our government and our Fed and our administration are incapable of taking the right steps. This is just inflation. The numbers I'm going to give you, just inflation. This doesn't include extra regulation or shortages or anything else. This is just because the value of your dollar is going down. Prices aren't going up. The value of your dollar is going down. Now, I used not 7.9% CPI to project into the future. I used shadow stats. The reason why I did this is because everybody is comparing this to the days of Jimmy Carter. No, it's worse than the days of Jimmy Carter. I'm using the shadow stats because this is the way the government calculated inflation in 1980. They changed that calculation because it was looking bad for the United States government and the Fed. So they changed it. But if we look and measure the same things the same way, we'll get the inflation rate that is 15.5%, not 7.9%. So this is from Shadow Stats. That's how we calculated these. I've made some charts, but I'll read them off in case you happen to be watching the Blaze. You'll see the charts. If not, let me just tell you where we're going to start, and that is with hamburgers. When Biden was elected, it was $4.40. Today, it's $6.01.
Jeez.
2024, November, the time the next election, just with inflation. That's it. No food shortage, nothing. Just due to inflation. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Hamburger was $4.40. A hamburger will be $7.95.
Wow.
When Biden was elected, this is just due to inflation. When Biden was elected, gas was $2.18. Today, it's $4.41. November 24th, with no shortages, no war, nothing, just from inflation, $5.83. When Biden was elected, milk was $3.24. Today, it's $3.89. Just through inflation in November 2024, The price of Biden milk will be $5.15.
I got news for you. I don't care what the price is. I'm not drinking Biden milk. That just sounds really icky.
It does. It does. You're not the one milking it either.
You can milk anything with a nipple.
When Biden was elected, the price of a light bulb was $1.57. Today, it's $2.55. A price of a light bulb when the presidential election in 2024 is happening will be $3.37. When Biden was elected, eggs a dozen, $1.45. Today, $2.35. November 24, $3.11. When Biden was elected, $1.50 for bread. Today, it's $1.67. November 2024 projection, $2.21. That number is going to be wildly different, and you'll understand why here in a minute. When Biden was elected, just because of inflation, houses were $358,700. Today, they're $414,123. November 24 projection, $547,885. That's the average home. When Biden was elected, $22,951 was the price of a car. Today, it's $30,603 if you can get one. Just through inflation, that number will jump from 30 to 40,488.
Just some quick personal news here, Glenn. I celebrated this weekend my 7-month anniversary of ordering my car. Yes, thank you. It's still not here. Yeah. They haven't even taken the order yet. Yeah. I haven't pulled the order yet, but great. 7 months in, I'm doing
great.
well.
Have you thought about a horse? Okay, now let me give you something else. Now these are just projections, and you can find, we're going to publish all of this. You can find how we made these projections, but they are just projections. These numbers can change dramatically. But we wanted to add in the geopolitical instability factor. So we know about wheat, and I've got something I've got to share with you here in a minute. We know about wheat, but we're being, I think, very conservative on some of these numbers. A hamburger, the price I just told you, add 25% if things continue to go geopolitically as they are. Gas, if things continue, the instability factor, you'll need to add 30% to that gallon of gas. 15% added for milk, 5% for light bulbs, 15% for chicken. For eggs. I don't think that's high enough. You'll understand why here in a minute. Bread up 30%, housing down 25%, and cars down by 25%. I agree with the housing, not necessarily so with the projection of the cars, but I left this to the experts and our team to put together the numbers. Now, I'm going to take a 1-minute break, and then I'm going to tell you the truth that no one is willing to talk about what's really going on with food and why you need to begin to prepare right now. Stu, have you ever listened to the podcast All In?
Yes.
Okay, really good, really, really bright guys. Generally speaking, more independent now, but they've all been Democrats, staunch Democrats, I think, except maybe one of them. And they're all experts in different fields and all friends. David Friedberg is one of them, and I was listening to the podcast, and they asked David a question. Now, David used to work for Monsanto, and he doesn't work there anymore, but he believes in, Monsanto and, blah, 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 think GMOs and et cetera, et cetera. If you're against GMOs, don't dismiss him, because I got my facts from him on the stats, but we're not talking GMOs. We're just talking about looking at the market and what is really happening. So when you're looking at food, understand that 15% of all global calories come from wheat and rice. 25%. I'm sorry, 15%. 1/3 of all of our wheat comes from Russia and Ukraine. We're supposed to be planting crops all around the world right now for wheat. Not happening in much of Russia, not happening anywhere in Ukraine. Next stat you need to understand. Our food supply, you know how the cars had just in time. Our production lines were all just in time. And that's why we can't make cars, because there are parts that are sitting somewhere, crossing the ocean, sitting on a dock someplace. The whole supply chain has broken down because it's just in time. It arrives just in time to put it into the car. When you have a disruption, it just bogs everything up, and unclogging it, we don't even know if we can really unclog it and get it started again. But it's going to take years to do it. That's the supply chain for stuff. The supply chain for food is 90 days. We have 90 days worth of food in the supply chain. That's from the grocery store to the garden and everything in between. If it stops, let's say we just for some reason stopped all farming, we would have 90 days left of food worldwide. Okay? 25% of all global production is food. We're about to lose 12% of production. That means we're losing half of our food supply of wheat. Half of our wheat food supply. This is going to hit places like Africa first, and it's going to hit places of poverty unlike anything we've ever seen. 800 million people currently on Earth live below 1,200 calories per day. So the Germans would not allow Jews to have more than 600 calories a day. So they are only double the amount of calories that the Jews got during the Holocaust. And we all remember what they looked like. If they're at 1,200 calories today and they're in places that are poor, which they most likely are, those calories will be either cut off or greatly reduced. Now, the bigger problem is fertilizer and energy. The energy price to run the tractors, to run the trucks, to run everything else, and the price of phosphorus and potassium, potash, and nitrogen. Those are the three major things we use to make fertilizer. Natural gas, 90% of ammonia is made from natural gas. Prices in natural gas have doubled, and in some places gone up 4x. It's gone from $200 a ton to $1,000 a ton. Phosphorus, 10% of the phosphorus from Russia and 20 to 25% of all of the potash comes from Russia. It's now been banned in Russia. They cannot sell it. We cannot buy it. They said, oh, you're going to cut us off at the bank? Great. We'll cut you off on this. Potassium is up to $700. Phosphate went from $250 to $700. This is causing so much stress on the farmers that farmers now all around the world are not planting their fields. They are reducing the acreage because without fertilizer, you're not growing much. So why plant all those fields? It's not going to be a good year, they're thinking. So as fertilizer goes up, they pull more and more acres. So far, the price of corn has doubled. Soybeans, wheat, skyrocketing. The strategic food reserves in some parts of the world are now opening. We better have perfect weather all over the world. Just because if things continue the way they are and don't turn around quickly, and we can't get fertilizer, hundreds of millions of people will experience famine by the end of the year. We need to do everything we can to support our farmers. We need to understand what's coming. And you need to have a garden, plant some seeds, live by a farm and help them, or start storing food now.